Hey, hello and welcome. This is going to be a few videos that I make that are going to show you how to model some basic Blender objects. There are lots out there on YouTube, so just look for them, but this is how I would go about modeling them. So I'm going to be modeling a column, a Greek column, a simple chair, and a sword. So this first video is going to be the Greek column as I see it as the easiest of the three. Okay, so let's get right in. Alright, I'm going to start off by pressing G for grab and then Z to move it up to the Z axis. And I'm going to have it sit right there so it looks like it's on the grid there. Let me just go ahead and move my keys. Okay, there we go. Alright, so I'm going to zoom in, press Tab, get into edit mode, A to deselect, come down here to the bottom of the 3D window, switch to face mode, grab the top face, GZ, and drag it down. Okay, so this is the basis of my Greek column. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to press E to extrude, but I'm not going to move the extrusion. I'm going to leave it down here, right where it pretty much got started. And I'm going to left mouse click, then I'm going to S to scale in, and that allows me to do this kind of this little inset right here, how it goes in like a picture frame. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and E to extrude again, and now I can do a step kind of like that. Okay, so now the rest is just sort of up to you. It's going to be a lot of repeating that with a slight variation. So now, for instance, if I want to go outward, I'll do E to extrude, left mouse click, S to scale it outward, E to extrude again, and now I can create another little level there. So again, E to extrude, left mouse click, S to scale in, and then there we go. And this time I'll go ahead and I'll extrude it up this time, zoom out so I can see it, and maybe something like about there. Okay, good. I'm also going to be using the loop cut tool, and I'll be using that at the end to make modifications at the very end. Okay, so now I'm going to do an extrusion, and then maybe scale that in a little bit to give sort of a chiseled top, sort of a 45-degree angle, and then I'll extrude to go up, and I'll repeat the process again. Extrude, left mouse click, scale out, extrude up, and I'm just basically repeating myself here. And you can make as many of these little ins and outs as you want. Okay, and I'll finish up just by doing one more extrusion, and then I'll scale it in so I get that top cap there. Okay, so there we are. Not too bad for a few moments of work. Okay, so I'm going to do a couple things here. I'm going to make it be a little wider in the center. So to do that, I'm going to press A to deselect all. I'm going to press Control R, and that's going to be the loop cut tool. And the way the loop cut tool works is you put your mouse pointer near the edge of the object, and you can either get a vertical cut or horizontal cut. I want horizontal. Then you left mouse click to place the cut, and then you're in drag mode, like free sliding mode, and you can choose where you want the cut to go. And I want it to go about here in the center, so I'm going to left click to place it. And when you do that, Blender automatically puts you into edge mode, edge select. So that's great, and they're already selected. If they weren't selected, I could go around and select all four. And now I want to maybe scale those up, and I'll scale them up just a little bit so it gets a little wider in the center, and you can kind of see that now. It's a subtle touch, but it's noticeable. Okay, and I'll press A to deselect all. Okay, now I'm going to give this a basic material. So I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to widen out this right-hand side. I'm going to go here to the material panel, which looks a little bit like a beach ball. Now, because this was the default cube, I already have a material here. If this wasn't here, it would look like, let me delete it, it would look like this. And you would just click on New, and it creates a new material. I'm going to double click and name this, and I'll just call it column. Oops, should probably spell that correctly. I'll call it column mat. Okay, and I'm just going to go ahead and click down here where it says diffuse, and I'll choose kind of a light, very light, warm color there. Alright, so that is pretty much it. The rest is all up to you if you wanted to do something. So for instance, just one idea would be is that I could go down here and I could zoom in on this base here, and if I wanted to make this a little bit more substantial, if I wanted to make it more interesting, I could go ahead and I could do the same thing. I could do an extrude, left mouse click, scale in. The problem with doing this technique now is you'll notice it's not scaling in equally around all four sides. You notice the left and the right are getting a greater scale in. I'm going to undo that and show you a variation on that. So another way you could do it, and I think this is faster, is that if you, instead of pressing E to extrude and then scaling in, there's actually an inset tool. And so if you just press I and then you inset, you'll see that it does the inset, and it looks like to me, and maybe you can say this in the comments section, but yep, it looks like to me it is doing it equally as it goes in, and it's scaling, so it's sort of a 2 for 1. It's good to know both techniques, so there you go. And then that works, and then I can go ahead and I can simply inset this, maybe scale it a little bit downward, kind of has that little angle in there, and you can go around and do that on all sides. So I can press I to inset that, E to extrude it in, a little bit, S to scale, something like that. Okay, so there you go. So now it's a little bit nicer. Go back to object mode, and there we go. Okay, so I'm going to call that a finished object, and I will see you next time, and we'll be modeling a chair. Thank you.